Hello again. I hope you're enjoying the workshop and learning a lot and maybe even applying some of what you have learned so far to your current leadership challenge. As I mentioned before, engaging in the behaviors measured by the Leadership Practices Inventory, by the LPI, is how you get better at leading. It's really that simple. And your LPI may have already given you some ideas, some clues on how you can do just that. Today, we're going to look at the second practice of the Leadership Challenge, which is inspire a shared vision. This practice is the one that separates good leaders from great leaders, because great leaders, exemplary leaders, are forward-looking. This is about creating a unique and ideal image of the future for the common good of the team and the organization. If I were to ask you what you would do when you're driving in a fog, you would probably tell me that you slow down. Maybe you'd even say that you turn on the headlights, or maybe you turn off the radio. Perhaps you would tell me that your stress level would go way up. We all tend to have a rather predictable reaction to driving in the fog, right? So let's say then that the fog lifts. What would you tell me you do then? You would probably tell me that you speed up. Maybe you start talking on your cell phone again. Maybe you would even say that you turn the radio back on and relax just a little bit. Then what would you tell me if I asked you what would happen if you drove fast in the fog? You might say that you'd have an accident or you might hurt someone. Well, I want you to think about how this image here, the fog, relates to you and your team, relates to you and your organization. A team, an organization without a clear vision of what's ahead is like working in a fog. And that's the point. Individuals, teams, organizations, people need to be able to see where they're going, or they are likely to make lots of mistakes and ultimately not reach their destination. Fortunately, you have a highly capable visionary leader, and yet you need to also consider the vision that you have for yourself, your workday, your projects, and your team. Leaders are expected to communicate in a way that lifts the fog and enables their team members to respond quickly and safely, especially in rapidly changing environments. Exemplary leaders work at envisioning the future and then successfully enlist others to support that vision. They're able to look across the horizon of time and imagine much greater opportunities. And then they're able to communicate that vision in such a compelling way that others want to get on board with that too. Also, it's interesting to note that many leaders say it's difficult to describe where their visions come from, but when they do, they say it is much more about a feeling, a sense, or a gut reaction. So how do leaders develop this capacity? They work at mastering two essentials that you see right here. They imagine ennobling or excellent and exciting possibilities, and they enlist others in a common vision by appealing to the shared aspirations. These are the two commitments related to this practice. So, how is Inspire a Shared Vision demonstrated? Again, it's all about behavior. So behaviorally, you talk about future trends that may influence your work. You describe a compelling image of what the future could be like. You appeal to others to share an exciting dream of the future. You show others how their long-term visions and interests can be realized. You paint the big picture of what you aspire to accomplish, and you speak with genuine conviction about the higher meaning and purpose of your work. So many of the leaders I've worked with tell me that Inspire Shared Vision is actually one of their most difficult leadership practices. Indeed, it's actually one of the lowest ranked practices across all leaders, especially in the current environment. Some people have told me that they don't see this as part of their role. They don't see that their job is to inspire a shared vision, that it's somebody else's responsibility to inspire one. But a vision doesn't have to be grand or lofty. You can be a visionary on a daily basis with people, with projects, with teams, with strategic goals. You can have a vision for just about anything, how you might want your day to go, how you might want a project to go, how you might want your team to accomplish certain goals. You can even have a vision of your ideal self. At some point in the future, you might be imagining how you would like to be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Stephen Covey would say that we need to begin with the end in mind. Your vision can become your driving force, and it can actually direct you to where you want to go. Essentially, you learn to ask yourself, how do I want my day to go? How do I want a project to go? What goals do I want to accomplish? You can have a vision for just about anything, right? How do I mobilize my team? What's the vision here? How can I use these behaviors to increase my team's engagement on this particular project? How do I get people excited? This all requires thinking ahead to the future. All of this clarifying is essential to understand what is needed. There are multiple opportunities to dial up for yourself or help someone else using the behaviors found within this practice. For example, a number of years ago, I was working with a Southern California organization that was growing like crazy and expanding their product line and about to make a move to an entirely new location within the same county. The move would impact nearly every single department and every single employee. No one knew what to expect, and everybody was stressed about relocating. The CEO then decided that he would call an all-management meeting. At the start of it, he shared a story. It's a story that's been around for many years, and maybe you've heard it. It essentially summarizes the power of vision. The story was about 3 bricklayers. They were working side by side. Passerby stops and asks, "What are you doing?" And the first one says, "I'm laying bricks." The second one says, "I'm building a wall." And the third bricklayer says, "I'm building a cathedral," as he looks up to the top. The CEO then asked everybody to think about the story. Are you laying bricks, building a wall, or building a cathedral? Can you see beyond the singular brick and know that what you are embarking on right now is part of the whole? Each brick, each person, each job is a vital part of the whole. And then he suggested that from that day forward, as they went about preparing for this big move, to ask themselves, were they laying bricks today, building a wall, or building a cathedral? He was essentially asking his team members to think about the higher purpose and meaning of their work and to envision the end result. Rather than just the enormity of the task they were faced with, he was asking them to envision the end result. I later learned that the talk that he gave that day helped to focus the team's energy, and it provided the much needed boost to their morale. The move was actually a success. So I'd like you to reflect on that same story. What is your proverbial cathedral? What is the higher meaning and purpose of your work? The truth is that the best visions are crafted when a leader engages in conscious introspection, conscious reflection, and visualizes what it will take to attain that vision. So in class, you will get an opportunity to do just that. You'll have time to think further about your vision and clarify what it is that you would like to create and visualize what it will take to attain that vision moving forward. So that's it for today. See you in class. And again, thank you for completing the in-between session assignment.